Chapter 1. Goddess of Death. The feeling of floating wraps around me like a warm blanket, giving me a sense of peace I've never felt before. It's weird, but in a good way, like I'm being cradled by the universe itself. Without thinking twice, I let myself go with the flow, letting it take me wherever it wants. As I drift along, I feel all my worries melt away. It's like time doesn't matter anymore, and I'm just going with the flow of things. I can't tell if I'm dreaming or not, but for some reason, I can't bring myself to open my eyes. It's like there's something inside me telling me to stay still, to soak up every moment of this strange experience. In this suspended state, I start to feel this gentle hum all around me, like the whole world is singing a song just for me. It's kind of magical, filling me with this sense of wonder that's hard to describe. It's like I'm free from all the usual stuff that weighs me down, just drifting along without a care in the world. So, I surrender myself to the moment, letting it take me wherever it wants. Because right now, in this strange and peaceful place, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. With my memory as patchy as a quilt made by a forgetful grandma, I can't even recall my own name or where I used to live. The only thing I'm certain of is the unfortunate end I met. I was reliving on a picture of a goddess, a beautiful goddess, quite the pathetic death. I want some good ending, like Truckcoin hitting me with a selfie face. Whatever the reason for my current predicament, one thing's for certain. I'm in for one heck of a ride, Truckcoin or no Truckcoin. According to the usual script, a god should be making a grand entrance any moment now, ready to grant me whatever wish my heart desires. Yet, as I continue to drift along, no divine figure materializes before me. Instead, I'm left to ponder the mysteries of my existence in this strange limbo. Could it be that I've been overlooked by the powers that be? Or perhaps this my punishment for reliving myself to a goddess? That must be the reason for my unexpected detour from the afterlife's itinerary. With no answers forthcoming, I can't help but wonder what comes next. Do I continue to float aimlessly, forever trapped in this surreal state? Just as I'm lost in my thoughts, a sweet, honey-like voice breaks through the silence, echoing in the depths of my mind. It's a sound so enchanting, so otherworldly, that it sends shivers down my spine. You're having fun over there, aren't you? Pervert. The sudden shift in tone catches me off guard, causing a jolt of confusion to surge through me. Pervert. I repeat, uncertain if I heard correctly. The voice chuckles softly, its laughter dancing on the edge of my consciousness. Yes, pervert, it repeats, teasingly. Aren't you the one jerk off with my picture, indulging in all sorts of fantasies? She appearing in front of me. She was an extremely beautiful woman. She had a big boobs, but her hair has two colors. One side is black, while other side is white. And she has scarlet eyes, which was looking at me like how a hunter looked at a prey. Pick. I'm sorry for that, but you did kill me for that, didn't you? I don't know for sure if she's the one who killed me, but my super-duper ultra-intelligent Mickey Mouse brain tells me she might the one who cock-blocked me to death. No need to apologize, my dear, she says, her tone gentle yet teasing. We all have our moments of weakness, especially in times of uncertainty. Besides, a little self-indulgence never hurt anyone, she said, without confirming whether or not she is the one who killed me. So care to tell me why I am here? Am I going to hell from masturbating? I said, what kind of hell would be that? I wonder, the 69th level of hell, where sperm would torture the masturbator. Nothing like your imagination, pervert. And 69th level of hell, what's that? She said with a laugh. Then why am I here? I press, my voice tinged with curiosity. You court death, and I accepted your proposal, she said with a charming smile. I don't remember courting anyone, especially death. Suddenly, like puzzle pieces slowly falling into place, I figured out what it is. You are death, right? And I'm masturbated to death. I said, oh God, out of all possible things, I had to use death as the material for masturbating. What are the changes? Bingo, she said. You see, I spread a normal picture of myself to Multiverse to find a partner for myself. As I am death, everybody is afraid to even look at my picture, but you, my dear, is something else. Should I be proud of that, or should I be ashamed? What can I say? I am a daredevil. I said if I had a legs, it would be trembling right now. Yes, that you are, she said. So, can you tell me, what should I do now? I asked. If she had accepted my proposal, then that means we are up to some hot, steamy action, right? According to Hentai logic, that is the right thing to do. As if hearing my inner voice, which she did, she replied, "If that's what you want, then that's what you will get," she said as the scenery around us changed. For some reason, I get the feeling that she was waiting for me to ask her that. Chapter 4. Death is into polygamy. As my eyes flutter open, the first thing I notice is the softness and weight of someone lying on my chest. My heart skips a beat as I realize that Death herself is nestled against me, her presence both comforting and exhilarating. I take a moment to savor the intimacy of the moment, relishing the warmth of her body pressed against mine. Her steady breaths mingle with my own, creating a rhythm that seems to echo the beat of the universe itself. With a gentle touch, I brush a strand of hair away from her face, marveling at the delicate features that seem to defy the passage of time. In this moment, she is not death incarnate, but a being of boundless beauty and grace, captivating in her simplicity. The sex just different. Still, I believe in the supremacy of MILFs. As Death's eyelashes flutter and her eyes open, a sense of uncertainty washes over me. Her hesitation is clear, casting a shadow over the peaceful moment we share. I watch her closely, waiting for her to say something, anything to break the silence. But instead, she offers only a delicate smile, her lips curving upwards in a way that doesn't quite match the unease I sense in her gaze. Is she going to send me away? I have no choice but to go with that route, she confirms, her words landing like a ton of bricks on my already bruised ego. As her warm sigh tickles my bare chest, I can't help but feel like I've just been served divorce papers before even getting to the honeymoon phase. Why? I mutter softly, the weight of her decision hanging over us like a rain cloud on a wedding day. Seriously, did I accidentally check the rush into marriage and then regret it immediately box on some cosmic form? No, it is not. This body is not my original one. I made it because, with your current power, you would have died before you stepped anywhere near me. So if you wish to stay with me, then you need to become stronger. As her words sink in, I can't help but feel like I've stumbled into some cosmic superhero training montage. Wait, so you're saying this body is like a rental car? You made it just so I wouldn't croak in your presence. I blurt out, the absurdity of the situation hitting me like a ton of bricks. Death nods, her expression serious despite the ridiculousness of it all. Exactly, she confirms. I couldn't have my potential partner dropping dead before our first date. Now could I? I can't help but chuckle at the mental image of me keeling over at the sight of Death in her true form. Fair point, I concede, trying to wrap my head around the idea of Death playing cosmic matchmaker. But how am I supposed to get stronger? I ask, skepticism lacing my tone. Do I need to hit the gym, start drinking protein shakes, or is there some kind of superhero training camp for mortals? Death's lips twitch in amusement at my questions. Oh, there are many paths to strength, she replies cryptically. You have been granted a rare opportunity to travel through different worlds. As Death's words sink in, a mischievous grin spreads across my face. Different worlds, you say? I echo, a sense of excitement building within me. Now that sounds like my kind of training montage. Move over, protein shakes. It's time for some interdimensional adventures. But before I can delve further into the possibilities of traversing multiple realms, Death throws me for a loop with her unexpected question about collecting women. My eyebrows shoot up in surprise, followed by a burst of laughter at the sheer audacity of her suggestion. You want me to collect women? I repeat, amusement evident in my voice as I try to wrap my head around the idea. Well, I must say, Death, you've certainly caught me off guard with that one. Who knew you were into polygamy? As I tease her, a part of me can't help but wonder what it would be like to have a harem of hot girls at my beck and call. After all, who wouldn't want to live out their wildest anime fantasies? But as tempting as the idea may be, I know that my heart belongs to Death, and Death alone. As much as the idea of a harem intrigues me, I continue, my tone playful yet sincere. I think I'll stick with just one woman for now. Besides, you're more than enough to handle on your own, Death. I became too attached to her in just one day. It was weird for someone who pursued more one-night stands than serious relationships. Her eyes kept staring ceaselessly. Moments later, her brows formed a frown. However, I didn't flinch or took my words back, as if the man who made Death climax would falter before a stare. As her eyes bore into mine, I try my best to maintain my composure, but her persistent stare feels like a spotlight shining on my crumbling resolve. Even if the women are from anime worlds, she says, her tone is serious as a heart attack. Crack. I can practically hear the imaginary sound of my determination breaking apart like a cheap dollar store vase. From any anime and series you like, she adds, her words landing like a sucker punch to what little willpower I have left. Shatter. Well, there goes my resolve, shattered into a million pieces like a mirror hit with a wrecking ball. Who am I kidding? A chance to collect waifus from my favorite anime series? Sign me up. A grin spreads across my face, a mix of excitement and disbelief making me feel like a kid in a candy store. Well, why didn't you say so sooner? I blurt out, unable to contain my enthusiasm. Let's go on a quest to gather waifus like they're rare Pokemon. Chapter 5, Earth 2126. A grin spreads across my face, a mix of excitement and disbelief making me feel like a kid in a candy store. Well, why didn't you say so sooner? I blurt out, unable to contain my enthusiasm. Let's go on a quest to gather waifus like they're rare Pokemon. Before that, tell me which world you'd like to start from, Death asks, her tone as calm as a cucumber in a salad bowl. I pause for a moment, considering the endless possibilities. Tough choice, I mull over, tapping my chin like a cartoon character deep in thought. But if I had to pick just one to start with, suddenly, it hits me like a bolt of lightning. Then I want to go to the Overlord universe. Then like canon, I transfer to New World. I suggest eagerly, a grin spreading across my face. Death's eyebrows raise in surprise at my suggestion, but she quickly recovers with a nod of approval. An interesting choice, she comments, her tone carrying a hint of intrigue. The world of Overlord certainly offers its fair share of unique characters and challenges. I nod enthusiastically, excitement bubbling up within me like a cauldron of potion in a fantasy RPG. Exactly, I exclaim, unable to contain my enthusiasm. Plus, who wouldn't want to rub elbows with some powerful sorcerers, fearsome dragons, and maybe even a few adorable succubus and vampire girls? Death chuckles softly, her eyes twinkling with amusement. You've got quite the imagination, she remarks, her smile widening. But you're right, the world of Overlord is filled with endless possibilities, and with you leveling up through an RPG system. After the game become reality, not only you become stronger, you will also get loyal subordinates, and there's practically no danger to your life. Now that you have chosen your primary world, what type of background you need in that world? Earth 2126. As I'm going to play Yggdrasil, I need a lot of money, so make me rich, I said. Death nods in understanding. All right, then what's your next wish? Make me an orphan. Death raises an eyebrow at my request, her expression thoughtful. An orphan with a lot of money, she muses, considering the implications of such a combination. I nod eagerly, my excitement growing at the prospect of being both wealthy and independent. Exactly, I exclaim, unable to contain my enthusiasm. As an orphan, I'll have the freedom to pursue my own path and make my own decisions, while my wealth will provide me with the means to achieve my goals and live a comfortable life. Consider it done, Death says with a nod, her smile resembling that of a mischievous cat who just found a mouse. And from my side, I will give you a system, she continues, her eyes gleaming with a newfound intensity. A system that will allow you to traverse the multiverse with ease. And keep in mind that your system will be at its minimum in Earth 2126 and only fully activate after you arrive in the new world. Death adds with a knowing smile, her eyes sparkling with mischief. I nod, absorbing her words with a mix of anticipation and curiosity. Got it? Death's smile widens, as if she knows the adventures that lie ahead. So, are you ready to embark on this grand adventure? She asks, her voice tinged with excitement. I grin, feeling a surge of adrenaline coursing through my veins. Absolutely, I exclaim, eager to dive headfirst into the unknown. Let's fire up that system and start exploring the multiverse. Who knows what wonders and wacky adventures we'll encounter along the way. Year 2126, Japan. In the year 2126, our once-beloved Earth had become a dumpster fire of epic proportions. Picture this. Instead of serene landscapes, we had corporate concrete jungles and industrial wastelands. The sky? More like a perpetual smoke screen, with the sun popping in like it's playing hide-and-seek. Our oceans? Let's just say they went from vibrant blue to toxic green, a real-life horror show. And as for that beautiful blue sky everyone used to wax poetic about, yeah, good luck finding it under the thick blanket of toxic fog. But hey, who needs fresh air and clear skies when you've got virtual reality, right? Oh, the joys of living in a world where the only nature you see is on a screen or in a photo album. Talk about dystopian chic. So, welcome to the year 2126, where the air is so polluted, even the birds have gas masks, and the only green you'll find is in your algae-infested bathtub. Cheers to progress. It's been 4 months since I came to this world, and let me tell you, it's been a wild ride. From navigating the treacherous corporate landscape to dodging toxic rain showers, every day is an adventure. But hey, at least I've got my trusty gas mask, a killer sense of dark humor, and Lady Death to keep me sane in this post-apocalyptic playground. Who needs paradise when you've got a front-row seat to the end of the world? Am I right? But the good news is that I was rich, not super-duper rich, but rich enough to make next 13 years of my life a heaven. And because I was rich, not super-duper rich, but rich enough to make the next 13 years of my life a heaven, I was able to get some shares of Yggdrasil. Don't ask me how. Let's just say money talks, even in the darkest of times. And today is the day when Yggdrasil releases its first beta test, and to my delight, I am one of its testers. Naturally, as someone who invested in the company, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to be among the first to experience the virtual world. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Alexander, but please call me Alex. Chapter 6, Vampire. In the year 2126, the term DMMORPG, short for Dive Massively Multiplayer Online Role-Playing Game, has become commonplace. These cutting-edge games revolutionize the gaming experience by allowing players to immerse themselves in virtual worlds using specialized consoles connected directly to their brains. This groundbreaking technology, known as the neural nano interface, seamlessly blends cyber and nanotechnology to create an unprecedented level of immersion and interaction. Originally developed by the military in 2080 for purposes such as training soldiers and simulating combat scenarios, the neural nano interface quickly found its way into the hands of cooperatives, paving the way for a new era of virtual reality gaming. With the ability to enter virtual worlds and interact with them as if they were real, DMMORPGs offer players unparalleled freedom and excitement. I glanced at the gaming console connected to my brain with a mix of anticipation and sheer disbelief. I mean, who would have thought that one day I'd be gaming with my mind? It's like something straight out of a sci-fi flick, but here I am, about to dive headfirst into a virtual world like a champ. With a deep breath, I activated the console and felt a weird, tingling sensation. Not gonna lie, it was kind of like that feeling you get when you sit on your leg for too long. But hey, no pain, no gain, right? Next thing I know, I'm standing in the middle of this virtual wonderland, surrounded by sights and sounds that make Disneyland look like a kiddie park. Welcome to the world of Yggdrasil, player. As the digital voice echoed in my mind, I couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement coursing through my veins. The world tree Yggdrasil is dying. The world tree, which had countless leaves, is dying because of a gigantic monster who appeared and is devouring these leaves, causing them to fall one after the other, until only 9 were left. These 9 leaves were the previous incarnations of the 9 worlds. The leaf-eating monster has now continued its advance to the point where it seeks to devour the remaining world, which are Asgard, Ulfheim, Vanaheim, Nivellr, Midgard, Jotunheim, Nibelheim, Helheim, and Muspelheim. We want you young heroes to stop the advance of the Devourer and protect your world from this calamity. For this, you have to choose a race. After the brief introduction was over, a blue screen appears in front of me. The blue screen in front of me offers 3 distinct paths: humanoid, demi-human, and heteromorphic. As I stare at the glowing blue screen, I can't help but feel a mix of excitement and indecision. 3 paths lie before me: humanoid, demi-human, and heteromorphic. It's like choosing between pizza toppings. Each one sounds tempting, but I know I can only pick one. Humanoid, huh? The safe choice, like ordering plain cheese pizza. Sure, it's familiar and reliable, but where's the adventure in that? Plus, who wants to be just another boring human when you could be something way cooler? Demi-human sounds intriguing. It's like the exotic toppings section. Goblins, ogres, centaurs, oh my. Talk about diversity. But with great diversity comes great responsibility, or at least that's what Uncle Ben would say if he were here. And then there's heteromorphic, the wild card, the spicy jalapeno of choices. Sure, it might come with some limitations, but who wouldn't want to be a badass angel or a fearsome dragon? Plus, think of all the cool Halloween costumes I could rock. After much deliberation and maybe a coin flip or two, I make my decision. Hey, Death, can you tell me which race I need to choose? I ask, turning to the enigmatic figure who is watching over me. While Death can't come to this world without destroying, she can communicate with me through the Multiverse system, which I named as it is not fully operational. Death chuckles softly, her eyes twinkling with amusement. Ah, the age-old question, she replies, her voice carrying a hint of mystery. I say choose something on undead side. I tilt my head, intrigued by Death's suggestion. Can you tell me the reason? Not that I'm questioning you or anything. I'm just curious, I ask, a playful grin quirking up one corner of my lips. Well, I am Death, so I've got a soft spot for things that defy death, she says with a chuckle, her eyes sparkling mischievously. With a smirk, I couldn't resist the logic in Death's recommendation. Fair enough, I quip, giving a nod of agreement. Might as well go with the undead option. Can't argue with advice from Death. Can you? I make my choice, and with a wink, I turn back to the blue screen. Scrolling through the options, I find the section for the heteromorphic race. A long list of undead races pops up, more than I ever imagined. Classic skeletons, zombies, and then the fancier stuff like vampires, liches, and wraiths. Each one comes with its own bag of tricks, strengths, and weaknesses. I scratch my head, overwhelmed by the choices. Well, I mutter to myself, scanning through the list. Looks like Death wasn't kidding about the undead side being a graveyard of options. After a bit of pondering and a few chuckles at some of the weirder picks, I settle on a race that speaks to me, the vampires. Seems like the right vibe, I chuckle. Always fancied myself an immortal with a killer fashion sense. With a nod of satisfaction, I confirm my choice, watching as the screen flashes before returning to the main menu. Excitement pulses through me as I realize my journey in the world of Yggdrasil is about to kick off. Can't wait to sink my teeth into whatever chaos awaits me as a blood-sucking vampire. With a dark chuckle, I take a deep breath, ready to dive headfirst into whatever twisted adventures await. Because when Death herself gives you a nod, you know it's going to be one hell of a ride. Let the bloodletting begin. Chapter 7, Helheim. As the screen flickers, a grotesque image materializes before me. It's like staring into the face of a nightmare. A creature that seems to have taken fashion tips from a bat and a gargoyle, with teeth sharp enough to make dentists jealous. 5 fingers on each hand, each one ending in a claw that looks like it could double as a can opener, complete the ghastly picture. I can't help but let out a nervous laugh. Well, aren't you a looker? I quip, trying to mask my discomfort with a dose of dark humor. If I wanted to scare children, I'd hang your portrait in my living room. Despite the initial shock, I remind myself that appearances can be deceiving. After all, with the right skills and abilities, I can probably make this monstrosity look like a runway model. It's just a matter of embracing my inner Picasso and getting creative with the character customization options. With a deep breath, I dive into the customization menu, ready to work some magic, or at least try not to vomit at the sight of my own character. With each adjustment, I can't help but crack jokes to lighten the mood. Let's see if I can turn this creature feature into a creature. Less feature, I mumble to myself, trying to inject some levity into the situation. As I tweak and fine-tune the details, I can't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. Who knew that playing God with a virtual avatar could be so entertaining? Ah, the joys of digital plastic surgery, I quip, adjusting the vampire's facial features with the finesse of a seasoned cosmetic surgeon. Finally, after what feels like an eternity of pixelated plastic surgery, I step back to admire my handiwork. The once terrifying creature now looks, well, slightly less terrifying. Not bad for a first attempt, I say with a smirk, marveling at my ability to turn a nightmare into something vaguely resembling a character from a B-list horror movie. While I would like to be an immortal with a killer fashion sense, but if I want to make this guy a better-looking than character from a B-list horror movie, I need a creator tool. But I don't have that yet, so I can't. After putting the finishing touches on my vampire avatar, I hit the finish button, ready to rock and roll in this virtual world. As my creation transformed into something only a mother could love, I couldn't help but snicker at the monstrosity I had brought into existence. It looked like it crawled straight out of a nightmare or a particularly bad horror flick. Then, like a sarcastic tour guide, the game system chimed in again. You have chosen a race from Yggdrasil for your adventures. Now, please choose a world for you to start your journey. You have 9 worlds to choose from: Asgard, Alfheim, Vanaheim, Nidavellir, Midgard, Jotunheim, Niflheim, Helheim, and Muspelheim. With my less-than-human appearance, blending in among regular folks was about as likely as a zombie passing for a ballet dancer. So, I narrowed down my options to the realms where my unique charm might not raise too many eyebrows: Niflheim, Helheim, or Muspelheim. Now, Niflheim sounded like a frosty nightmare, ruled by ice giants, and probably not the best place for a creature who's already cold enough. And Muspelheim? Well, let's just say I didn't fancy becoming a crispy critter in a land of fire giants. So, that left Helheim, the land of the dead, ruled by the undead. Seemed like the perfect fit for a creature like me. I mean, where else could a fledgling vampire feel more at home than in a world teeming with zombies, ghouls, and all things that go bump in the night? It was like being invited to a party where everyone's dead on the inside. Literally. And it's a place where the great tomb of Nazareth is found. So, with a nonchalant shrug and a casual flick of my undead locks, I confirmed my choice. Helheim it is, I muttered to myself, trying to sound as suave and mysterious as possible, despite knowing I look more like an extra from a B-movie horror flick. As I stood there, waiting for the next step in this virtual adventure, a circle appeared beneath my feet, engulfing me in a flurry of pixelated particles. Before I knew it, my virtual body began to fade away, leaving me in darkness once again. Just when I thought things couldn't get any weirder, a small screen materialized in front of me, displaying a detailed map of Helheim. With a grin, I read the text that appeared above the screen. Choose your desired hunting area. Oh, the possibilities! Should I go for the classic graveyard vibe? Or perhaps venture into the depths of a haunted forest? Decisions. I decided to take a walk on the wild side and spawn at the very bottom of the map, right at the edge of Helheim. In Yggdrasil, the deeper you venture into the heart of the map, the more treacherous it becomes. Monsters lurk in the shadows, and the terrain itself seems to conspire against you. And as I was level 0, I decided to start from the edge of the map. I hit the confirm button as the game system processed my decision. I couldn't help but feel a twinge of excitement mixed with a healthy dose of dread. I mean, sure, exploring a world of the undead sounded like a thrilling adventure, but let's not forget that these were the same creatures who'd probably snack on my brains given half the chance. But hey, who needs brains when you've got bravado, right? With death by my side and the promise of untold riches and unimaginable power awaiting me, I took a deep breath and stepped forward into the darkness of Helheim, ready to face whatever twisted horrors this cursed realm had in store. Chapter 8. First Blood. As I pressed the confirm button, Everything around me shifted, and in the blink of an eye, I found myself standing knee-deep in murky swamp water. Ah, the sweet smell of adventure. And let me tell you, folks, Helheim was like walking into a horror movie set on steroids. The air was thick with an eerie chill, and the ground felt like it was made of bones, literally. But despite the spine-tingling atmosphere, I couldn't help but feel a rush of adrenaline coursing through my undead veins. But just as I was getting my bearings in this soggy new environment, a notification popped up before me, demanding a name worthy of a legend. For every legend, a name must be chosen. Please enter your name, one that will echo through the ages and be remembered by the people of Yggdrasil. No pressure or anything, right? Time to come up with a moniker that strikes fear into the hearts of my enemies, or at least makes them chuckle. I pondered for a moment. Then with a grin, I typed in my chosen name, Alexander Seductus von Mortis. Because why settle for just one spooky title when you can have them all? Now, let's see those monsters try to mess with the count. So how is the name, Death? As I eagerly awaited Death's response, the air around me seemed to grow even colder, if that was even possible in this bone-chilling swamp. Moments passed like molasses as I waited with bated breath for her verdict. Finally, Death's voice echoed in my mind, her tone tinged with amusement. A bit dramatic, don't you think? She remarked, her laughter dancing on the edge of my consciousness. But hey, if you're going for the whole intimidating vampire lord vibe, then I suppose it fits the bill. I couldn't help but chuckle at her response, feeling a surge of confidence wash over me. Well, you know me, Death, I replied, my voice filled with mock bravado. Go big or go home, right? As I bantered with Death, a notification from the system interrupted our conversation, blinking insistently in the corner of my vision. Welcome, Alexander Seductus von Mortis, to the world of Yggdrasil. Your legend begins here. I couldn't help but grin at the messages flashing before me. It was official. I was now a player in the grand game of Yggdrasil, and the world was my oyster. Well, more like my blood-filled swamp, but you get the idea. With newfound determination coursing through my veins, I turned to Death with a gleam in my eye. Well, Death, it looks like the adventure begins, I declared, my voice filled with excitement. Time to show Helheim what the infamous Alexander Seductus von Mortis is made of. Death chuckled softly, her eyes gleaming with amusement. I have no doubt you'll make quite the impression, my dear, she replied, her tone tinged with pride. Just remember to stay true to yourself, and never forget the power that lies within you. Congratulations, Alexander Seductus von Mortis. Your official IGN on Yggdrasil has been successfully set. Congratulations. You have leveled up. Level 0, Level 1. Congratulations. You are now eligible to select your first job class. A comprehensive list of job classes has been generated, ranging from warrior to sorcerer. In Yggdrasil, job classes are categorized into 3 tiers: base, high, and rare. Base job classes can be leveled up to 15, high classes up to 10, and rare classes up to 5. I selected warrior as my first job class. Congratulations. You have chosen warrior as your first job class. Congratulations. You have acquired skills: slice, cut, and stab. Congratulations. You can now activate your racial abilities: blood drain and shadow walk. You have obtained a sword of an unknown class. Now that I've gained my first job class, let's go for my first hunt, I declared with a newfound sense of determination, brandishing my sword like a seasoned warrior ready to conquer the world. Death's silent approval lingered in the air, a subtle nod of encouragement that spurred me onward. As I set out into the murky depths of Helheim, my mind buzzed with excitement and anticipation, eager to test out my newfound skills and abilities. With each step, I couldn't help but marvel at the eerie beauty of my surroundings: the twisted trees, the ominous fog, the bone-chilling silence that hung in the air like a shroud. But amidst the haunting landscape, I soon spotted my first target, a lone skeleton wandering aimlessly through the mist, its hollow eye sockets fixed on me with a gaze that seems to suck my soul out. With a confident smirk, I squared my shoulders and charged forward, ready to unleash my warrior prowess upon the unsuspecting undead. "All right, you bony bugger. Let's see what you've got," I taunted, my voice echoing through the desolate swamp like a battle cry. With a swift swing of my sword, I unleashed a flurry of slashes and stabs, each strike fueled by adrenaline and determination. The skeleton, caught off guard by my ferocity, stumbled backward in a futile attempt to defend itself. But it was no match for my newfound skills, and within moments it crumbled to dust at my feet, a victorious testament to my prowess as a warrior of Yggdrasil. "Huh, that's what you get for messing with Alexander Seductus von Mortis," I exclaimed triumphantly, wiping the imaginary sweat from my brow with a satisfied grin. Death's laughter echoed in my mind, a melodious symphony of amusement that only fueled my sense of accomplishment. "Congratulations, you slayed an enemy." Chapter 9, Skeleton Mage. After slaying those 3 more monsters, I leveled up faster. It was like hitting the jackpot at a vampire-themed arcade. Ding, ding, ding. Gold coins and level ups galore. "Congratulations, you've leveled up. Level 1, Level 2. Congratulations, you got 3 gold coins. You have 10 free stat points." I saw that I had unlocked 3 more job classes, which I ignored for now, and added a level to my racial class vampire to open up more class skills. I mean, who needs a job when you've got killer stats and a blood-sucking heritage? Am I right? So, I brushed off those pesky job classes like crumbs off a midnight snack and dove headfirst into leveling up my vampire skills. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why bother with racial class when you could be mastering new moves and flashy spells? Well, let me tell you, my friend, racial class is where the real magic happens. It's like the secret sauce that takes your stats from meh to marvelous, turning you into a lean, mean, monster-slaying machine. And let's not forget about the discrimination against us heteromorphic folks. It hasn't happened, but it will happen. So, yeah, leveling up that racial class was top priority, like getting your hands on the last slice of pizza at a party. Armed with my trusty rusted sword and a thirst for adventure and blood, but let's not dwell on the details. I went on a killing spree that would make even the most hardened monster hunter blush. Each monster slain was like a notch on my undead belt, bringing me one step closer to vampire greatness. And let me tell you, it was non-stop action from dawn till dusk, or dusk till dawn in my case. I leveled up faster than a speeding bullet, reaching level 14 in no time flat. My racial class was soaring higher than a bat out of hell, unlocking new abilities and skills with each passing moment. Until I encountered a skeleton mage, sure, being a vampire had its perks. Super strength, heightened senses, and ability to control blood can turn invisible. But it also came with its fair share of drawbacks. For starters, vampire had a large drawback towards light magic, holy magic, and fire magic. But back to the skeleton mage. This boneheaded nuisance had a few tricks up its sleeve, including some nasty spells that could turn me into a pile of ash faster than you can say holy water. But being the fearless vampire that I am, or at least pretend to be, I wasn't about to let some glorified bag of bones ruin my day. As soon as the skeleton mage locked eyes with me, it wasted no time in unleashing its most powerful spell, Fireball. With flames swirling towards me, I dodged to the right with lightning speed, narrowly avoiding the scorching blast. Closing the distance between us, I lunged forward, driving my sword towards the undead's chest. But the crafty mage wasn't going down without a fight. It quickly erected a barrier of protection magic, deflecting my blow and minimizing the damage. Still, my attack wasn't in vain. As it left the skeleton mage reeling, a significant chunk of its health depleted in one fell swoop. The perks of being a seasoned warrior. I knew just how to exploit my opponent's weaknesses. And with the skeleton mage being the highest level monster in these beginner grounds, I had a feeling it wouldn't go down without a fight. But that's the thing about patterns and predictability. They can be exploited, and I was more than ready to take advantage of every opportunity. As the skeleton mage recovered from my onslaught, I braced myself for its next move, my senses heightened and my reflexes razor-sharp. With each dodge and strike, I danced around the skeleton mage's relentless onslaught, wearing it down until its mana reserves were depleted. Seizing the opportunity, I delivered the final blow, severing its head from its bony shoulders with a swift stroke of my blade. Congratulations! You have slain an enemy. Congratulations! You have leveled up. A level 14, level 15. As the notifications flashed before me, I couldn't help but let out a triumphant whoop, my adrenaline pumping as I basked in the glory of my hard-earned victory. After about 12 hours of non-stop grinding against the low-level monsters in the area, I finally reached level 15 in my racial class. With this milestone, my racial ability was fully unlocked, granting me access to a whole new power to control. With my racial ability, Blood Domination, fully unlocked, I felt a surge of excitement coursing through my undead veins. This was no ordinary power. It was a force to be reckoned with, capable of bending the very essence of blood to my will. Not only could I manipulate blood to heal my wounds and enhance my physical abilities, but I could also control the minds of my enemies, bending them to my will with a mere thought. With Blood Domination in my undead arsenal, I was practically the Count Dracula of the digital age, minus the cape and the Transylvanian castle, of course. But I will get something similar to Transylvanian castle, but mine will be bigger and stronger. Deciding to put my newfound racial skills to the test, I located a lone skeleton shambling through the misty swamps of Helheim. Its bones clattered together with each step, echoing eerily in the silent landscape. With a sly grin, I activated Blood Domination, and a long spike made of blood materialized next to me, eliciting a mix of awe and unease. I focused my will, directing the spike towards the unsuspecting skeleton with all the finesse of a novice puppeteer. With a flick of my virtual wrist, I sent the spike hurtling towards the skeleton, impaling it with pinpoint accuracy. The creature let out a hollow moan as it crumbled to the ground, defeated by the sheer force of my newfound power. Congratulations! You slayed an enemy. Satisfied with the results, I was about to continue my hunt. But a voice interrupted me. It's time to sleep, dear. It was none other than Death. I couldn't help but chuckle at the unexpected interruption. Ah, come on, Death, I replied with a hint of playful protest. Just a few more monsters to slay, and then I'll call it a night. But Death was insistent, her tone gentle yet firm. You've had quite the adventure today, but you are not a vampires yet, so you need your rest, she insisted. Besides, there will be plenty more monsters to slay tomorrow. I couldn't argue with that logic, so with a resigned sigh, I nodded in agreement. All right, I conceded, feeling a pang of disappointment at the thought of ending my gaming session so soon. But tomorrow, I'll be back with a vengeance. With that, I logged out of the game, feeling a sense of satisfaction wash over me as I prepared to drift off into the realm of dreams. Chapter 10, Money Talk. Ah, the joys of virtual reality gaming. It's been 4.5 months of non-stop grinding in Yggdrasil, and let me tell you, it's been a wild ride. From slaying monsters to dodging fireballs, every day brings new challenges and adventures. And let's not forget the occasional encounter with a skeleton mage who just won't quit. Last month marked the official release of Yggdrasil to the public, and boy, did it cause a stir. Within 2 weeks, the servers were bursting at the seams with eager players, spawning left, right, and center like rabbits in a magician's hat. It was like the digital equivalent of rush hour traffic. Complete madness. And let me tell you about my encounters with the newbies. Finally spotting some demi-humans and heteromorphic players in Helheim was like stumbling upon a mythical creature in the wild. They gawked, they gasped, and some even had the audacity to call my avatar cool. Well, I may be a blood-sucking vampire in the game, but I'm also a sucker for a compliment. But fear not, for despite my fearsome appearance, I am a friend to all, especially the newbies. I greet them with a smile emoji, offer them some virtual snacks. Hey, a vampire's gotta have some hospitality, right? And even lend a hand with their quests. After all, what are fellow adventurers for if not to help each other out in times of need? During this time, I kept on hunting along the edge of Helheim, slowly pushing my way towards the center. No need to rush, right? After all, Why risk life and limb when you can take things at your own pace? I managed to level up to 50, which might sound low compared to other games, but in Yggdrasil, it's a pretty respectable level. You see, the experience needed to level up increases with each level. So hitting level 50 is no small feat. It's like climbing a mountain made of experience points, one level at a time. And reaching that milestone wasn't easy. It took hours upon hours of grinding, battling monsters left and right, and dodging fireballs like a pro. The eternal struggle of leveling up in Yggdrasil. It's like trying to climb a mountain made of jello. You take one step forward and slide back 2 steps. But hey, that's what keeps things interesting, right? Keeps you on your toes, so to speak. So yeah, while some players might be charging headfirst into the heart of danger, I prefer to play it safe. Why risk losing all those hard-earned levels and experience points when I can still rack up a decent amount right where I am? Call me cautious, call me a chicken, but I call it playing smart. Besides, who says you need to be at the center of all the action to have fun? I've seen plenty of excitement right here on the outskirts of Helheim. From epic battles with skeleton warriors to daring escapes from fire-breathing dragons, there's never a dull moment in this game. And let's not forget about the loot. Sure, the rewards might not be as flashy as what you'd find in the depths of the Helheim, but hey, a gold coin is a gold coin. Am I right? And trust me, I've got big plans for all those shiny treasures I've been hoarding. So while others may chase after glory and fame, I'll be here, taking it one monster at a time and enjoying every minute of it. After all, in the world of Yggdrasil, the journey is just as important as the destination. And my days since those wild events have been relatively normal. Well, as normal as you can get when you're a vampire warrior battling undead minions in a digital realm. That is. But hey, no rest for the wicked, right? I've been grinding away at those experience points like there's no tomorrow, leveling up my classes faster than you can say level up, and let me tell you it's paying off big time. In just a month's time, I've managed to max out some of my classes already. That's right, yours truly is now a master of swordsmanship, a connoisseur of dark magic, and a seasoned expert in all things vampire-related. And the best part? I've unlocked a whole slew of new skills and classes along the way. Of course, I didn't equip them all. I'm not a hoarder, you know. Only the ones I deemed necessary for my epic quest for domination. And hey, if that means ditching those basic starter classes I got way back, when so be it. Ain't nobody got time for that when there's monsters to slay and loot to plunder. But wait, there's more. Thanks to my daring exploits and epic victories, I've also managed to snag some pretty sweet achievements, like Weapon Mastery and Ripper, to name a few. And I did all of that in just 1 month's worth of playing. So yeah, while some players might be out there chasing after rare loot and legendary weapons, I'll be right here, kicking butt and taking names one monster at a time. After all, in the world of Yggdrasil, the grind never stops, and neither do I. And one more thing about Yggdrasil, it was a game of exploration, mystery, and a heck of a lot of surprises. They didn't hold your hand in that game. Oh no. They just gave you the controls and threw you into the deep end like a bunch of piranhas in a fish tank. But you know what? That's what made it so darn special. See, Yggdrasil wasn't like your run-of-the-mill DMMOs. It gave you more freedom than a kid in a candy store. You could go anywhere, do anything, and be anyone you wanted to be. Well, as long as you didn't mind dodging fireballs and fighting off hordes of undead minions, that is. And that freedom was like crack to gamers. It spread like wildfire. Before you knew it, everyone and their grandma was talking about Yggdrasil. It was like the hottest gossip in town. But here's the kicker. The game was tough as nails, especially for newbies. I mean, just try leveling up or defeating a monster without breaking a sweat. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack while blindfolded and riding a unicycle. Yeah, it's that hard. So, what do you do when the going gets tough? You hit up the cash shop. That's right, they introduced these little beauties called cash shop items. You know, the kind you buy with real-life moolah. As soon as those bad boys hit the shelves, I went on a shopping spree like there was no tomorrow. I mean, who needs to grind for hours on end when you can just buy your way to victory? Am I right? And I like to name this particular method of winning money talk. So there I was, throwing money at my screen faster than you can say, cash shop addiction. But hey, because of death help, I don't need to worry about money. Chapter 11. Vampire God. Not only did I splurge on cash items, but I also had a treasure trove of self-made and customized gear. I spent hours tinkering away, crafting my own equipment, and tweaking existing gear to perfection. Hey, why settle for off-the-rack when you can tailor-make everything to your liking? Now, if you took one look at my character, you might think I'm just your run-of-the-mill warrior. And yeah, I do warrior things like swinging swords and slaying monsters. But here's the kicker. I'm also a bit of a spellcaster on the side. See, while most warriors are all brawn and no brains, I've got a little something extra up my sleeve. Thanks to my massive MP pool, Vampire has high mana from beginning, an arsenal of tiered spells. I can make even the most seasoned magic caster green with envy. So yeah, I may look like your average sword-swinging brute, but don't be fooled. I've got a few tricks hidden up my armor sleeves. And there is also another Easter egg. You see, I have a special ring. This aren't your ordinary piece of bling. Oh no. This ring got a special knack for hiding some of my stats from prying eyes. Now, you might be wondering, why go through all the trouble of keeping my stats under wraps? Well, let's just say I've been attracting a bit too much attention lately. You see, I'm not your average player. I'm not even your above-average player. I'm what you might call a game breaker, a force to be reckoned with in the world of Yggdrasil. I'm talking next-level strength here, folks. Like, if you were to compare me to your average Joe player with the same level, it'd be like pit-tinned a bunny against a lion. No contest. I could take him down with one hand tied behind my back, no sweat. But let's be real here. A player walking around like the undisputed king of the jungle? That's bound to turn some heads. And not in a good way, mind you. Folks starting to whisper, rumors starting to spread. And the last thing I need is a mob of nosy adventurers poking around where they don't belong. So with my trusty ring doing its thing, I can carry on with my grind in peace, without all the unwanted attention cramping my style. 'Cause let's face it, in a game like Yggdrasil, it's survival of the strongest. And if keeping a low profile means staying one step ahead of the competition, then you better believe I'm all in. Besides, who needs enemies when you've got your own stats to worry about? Am I right? But so far, my everyday life has been a merry-go-round of grinding, hunting, mining, raiding dungeons, and tackling quests. Some might call it peaceful, but I prefer to think of it as the calm before the storm. I'm just here, biding my time, waiting for the chaos to kick in like an unexpected plot twist in a bad movie. Sure, I might be enjoying this leisurely pace for now, but let's not kid ourselves. This game is about as predictable as a squirrel on roller skates. Anything could happen at any moment. But for now, I'm taking it easy and enjoying the calm before the storm. Life's good, real good. That is actually about to end. In the death plains of Helheim, chaos erupted as loud cries and explosions echoed through the eerie landscape. Amidst the commotion, I found myself locked in combat with none other than a no-life king. Now, these undead kings aren't your average monsters. They're like the leaders of a spooky squad, not because they team up to terrorize players, but because they've got some serious necromancy skills. These guys can raise all sorts of undead minions, think skeleton knights, mages, you name it, and throw them at you like a creepy undead army. And let me tell you, they're not afraid to play dirty. They'll pull sneaky moves and ambush you when you least expect it. Seriously, they make cowards look brave. But here I am, facing off against this no-life king like a champ. Sure, it's a tough fight, but I got a few tricks up my sleeve, or should I say, in my inventory. As the no-life king unleashed a barrage of spells and summoned his skeletal minions, I dodged and weaved like a pro. With each explosion and bone-rattling cry, I couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. Here I am, just a regular old vampire warrior, taking on the big bad boss of the Death Plains. But hey, in a world like Yggdrasil, you gotta roll with the punches, even if those punches are coming from a horde of undead minions. As I parried and slashed my way through the chaos, I couldn't help but appreciate the irony of the situation. Who would have thought that a day in the life of a virtual adventurer would involve duking it out with an undead king in the middle of a cursed wasteland? Despite the danger and the overwhelming odds, I kept my cool. Well, as cool as a bloodthirsty vampire can be, anyway. With each swing of my sword and every spell I unleashed, I felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through my veins. This was what it was all about: the thrill of the fight, the rush of battle, and the satisfaction of coming out on top. And let me tell you, coming out on top against a no-life king? That's no small feat, but with a combination of skill, strategy, and just a dash of luck, I managed to emerge victorious. As the final explosion rocked the death plains, signaling the defeat of my formidable foe, I couldn't help but let out a triumphant laugh. Congratulations! You defeated the no-life king. Congratulations! You have leveled up a level 85, level 86. Congratulations! You obtained the rare item, Crown of Undeath. Congratulations! You have been given the opportunity to promote your racial class to Vampire God. As the notifications flashed before me, I couldn't help but grin from ear to ear. Now this is the kind of hard work I am looking forward to. Chapter 12. Cain Abel. Congratulations! You have been given the opportunity to promote your racial class to Vampire God. As the notifications flashed before me, I couldn't help but grin from ear to ear. Now this is the kind of hard work I am looking forward to. Quickly, I selected the option to see the requirements for my racial class promotion. There was only one condition for my racial class promotion, which was requirements for racial class promotion. Slay Cain Abel, the god of the bloodline of origin. Obtain Cain Abel's blood soul item. Failure. Can't equip any god-level racial class. Are you seeing this, Death? I said. Seems like you are up for a challenge, dear. Death said with a slight smirk in her voice. I nodded, feeling a rush of adrenaline coursing through my veins. You bet I am. This is going to be one for the history books, I replied, my voice brimming with determination. But there is one thing I am worried about. What's that? Death asked, her voice laced with curiosity. Well, I began, pausing for a moment to gather my thoughts. I think Cain Abel's blood soul item is used to create Shaltir. So if I killed Cain Abel now, wouldn't that affect creation of Shaltir? While most didn't know, Cain Abel is one of the god in Yggdrasil. And in canon, he was defeated by Ain's Olgaun in order to obtain Cain Abel's blood soul item to create Shaltir Bloodfallen. Hearing me, Death's expression softened as she considered my words. Ah, I see your concern, she mused, her voice thoughtful. But fear not, dear. It will be all right. Even if Cain Abel were to meet his end at your hands, the creation of Shaltir would still come to pass. Trust me. I breathed a sigh of relief. I don't want to lose on my favorite character. Can I? That's a relief to hear, I admitted, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. With a chuckle, I straightened up, ready to face the challenge ahead. All right then, I declared, a grin spreading across my face. Let's go give old Cain Abel a taste of his own medicine. Time to show him who's boss. And with that, Death and I set off on our quest, ready to confront Cain Abel and seize our destiny with both hands. After all, when life throws you undead gods, you grab a stake and make history. In the bone-chilling depths of Helheim, where the mist hung thick like a bad smell in a crowded elevator, a cry that could wake the dead echoed through the desolate landscape. And trust me, in a realm like this, the dead didn't need much waking up. As if dealing with undead wasn't enough, now I had to contend with two of Bloodsucker, both loyal lackeys of Cain Abel himself. Talk about being caught between a rock and a hard place. Or in this case, between a pair of bloodthirsty vampires and a whole lot of trouble. But you know what they say, when life gives you blood-sucking lemons, you grab a steak and make some undead lemonade. Or something like that. But hey, who needs a family reunion when you've got a pair of thirsty vampires trying to turn you into their next meal? As the two bloodsuckers lunged at me with all the grace of a pair of overexcited bats, I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Well, I quipped, flashing them a grin that was equal parts charming and intimidating. Looks like we got ourselves a family reunion. Huh? Who brought the garlic? With a snarl that would make Dracula himself proud, the vampires launched themselves at me, their fangs bared and their claws gleaming in the dim light. But I wasn't about to let them get the drop on me. Not when I had a reputation to uphold and a massive ego to stroke. So with a swift parry here and a well-timed dodge there, I danced around their attacks, striking back with all the finesse of a seasoned warrior. Sure, I may not have had centuries of undead experience under my belt, but I had something even better, a whole lot of moxie and a healthy dose of dumb luck. As the first vampire lunged at me, with claws bared and fangs flashing, I sidestepped his attack with all the grace of a drunken ballerina. Nice try, Sparkles, I teased, flashing him a cocky grin. But you'll have to do better than that to catch me. The second vampire wasn't far behind, launching himself at me with all the ferocity of a rabid chihuahua. But I was ready for him, my sword slicing through the air with deadly precision as I parried his blows with ease. As the battle raged on, I found myself caught in a deadly dance of steel and shadows, with the two vampires as my reluctant partners. With each clash of our weapons, I could feel the adrenaline coursing through my veins, fueling my every move with a surge of raw power. But even as I fought, a nagging voice in the back of my mind reminded me of the stakes, no pun intended. If I didn't come out of this alive, who would protect Helheim from the likes of Cain Abel and his cronies? Oh, wait, that's right. It's just a game. With a mental shrug, I pushed aside my concerns and focused on the task at hand. These bloodsuckers weren't going to slay themselves, after all. Well, technically they could, but where's the fun in that? With a series of well-timed strikes and dodges, I managed to outmaneuver the vampires, turning their own attacks against them with a combination of skill and luck. One by one, their health bars dwindled until finally, with a dramatic flourish, I delivered the final blow. As their digital bodies dissolved into pixels, I couldn't help but let out a whoop of triumph. "Take that, you undead bloodsuckers!" I exclaimed, my voice echoing through the eerie silence of Helheim.